Hey there, I wanted to come on and do a follow-up to my post about people pleasing. I had a ton of really interesting conversations after I posted that, and a few things came up for me. I'm going to share some practical tips for kind of how to hit pause when you're leaning into your people pleasing instincts. But first, I just wanted to say that if you've been socialized as a woman in our society, you may be hardwired toward people pleasing. Right? There are things that we've been taught that whether it's just in the air or that we learned from our communities or that we learned in our careers that will lean toward people-pleasing behavior. We learn to be pleasant. We learn to be small. We learn to kind of stay in our place. We learn to protect other people's comfort. And these are really natural things. They're human things. So don't feel like you're alone. There's lots of us who are in that same boat right along with you. And for me, I've really worked on not beating myself up about it, right? I am hardwired to people please, and I'm on a journey to get a little bit better about that. But I just share that to my fellow women, that this is just part of our reality. Okay, a couple tips. One is there's no need to say yes in the moment. If you've gotten a request and you are not sure that it's the best thing for you, then take a pause. Ask the person if you can get back to them later so that you can do justice to their request. And then, take some time to think about it and get back to them and let them know if this is something that you can take on. Along those same lines, if you get a request, like let's say you get an email and it's asking for 6 things. I don't have time for 6 things. I bet you don't have time for 6 things. I don't know who has time for that many things, but one technique is to write back and say, hey, please let me know what's most important, what's urgent, what's critical. I have time for 2 or 3 of these things, and I'll be able to get back to you on those by X. I've never really had that backfire on me. So that's a good one, I think. I also want to share that we have to remember sometimes that no is a complete sentence. It's a short sentence, and maybe it's a too abrupt sentence sometimes, but it does stand on its own as a sentence. N-O, full stop. That's a sentence, and we can move on. Now, when we want to soften it up, which of course we probably do sometimes, I think that's A-okay, no problem. But what I try to avoid is over-explaining, right? Sometimes I think that if I can explain perfectly why it is that I might not be able to do that thing, somehow that makes it better that I'm not doing the thing. But in fact, all I'm doing is a lot of blah, 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 probably not helping anyone in the process and just wasting my time drafting and redrafting emails. So trying to quit over-explaining. Another thing is I read in Radical Candor by Kim Scott. She used to work with Sheryl Sandberg. And what they did was at the end of every meeting, they had a time set aside for giving and receiving constructive criticism. And what that did was it developed their muscles for receiving critical feedback and giving critical feedback. And I thought that the notion of getting lots of practice doing that, lots of reps, becoming familiar and seeing that no one is spontaneously combusting because you're delivering information that might be hard to hear. So I really like that technique, like building into your operations that there's a moment to give and receive feedback. Another thing I learned in a training by Simon Sinek's group is to really work with the people around you to let them solve their own problems. And if you need to coach them or mentor them through that, it's a great investment of your time because as people pleasers, we're going to look for problems. And oftentimes there aren't even going to be any problems, but we're going to start trying to fix things, right? So we're swooping in, we're doing a bunch of stuff, we're trying to make everybody happy. But in the process, we're really robbing them of their learning opportunity. And we're just perpetuating the problems coming to us, right? So when we feel that need to swoop to fix something, that's when to take a pause and maybe help the people around you solve the problems themselves. Those are my tips. The ones I have today for you anyway. If everyone else has tips, please do share below. If this resonates with you, hit like or heart or the little hand thing, or send me a DM. I'd love to hear from you. I think this is a really important topic for us to think about. And for sure, I'm happy to have you along with me on my journey. All right, take care.